Wondering how to get every dye in Minecraft? This video is going to explain each colored dye, what ores, flowers, drops, or crafting recipes you need to get them. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see when new videos come out. To start off, this is going to be looking at the Java edition of Minecraft and how to get every dye in that edition. Let's start by explaining how flowers generate in Minecraft. Flowers can generate naturally, but they can also be generated by applying bone meal to grass in a biome. Depending on the specific biome, different flowers can generate. With flower forest biomes, there's a gradient or pattern to the flowers that generate. Every X and Z coordinate or block will generate a specific flower. This could be useful if you want specific flowers for dyes. You can apply bone meal to generate those flowers. The plains and sunflower plains have a gradient also, but it is tulip patches. These tulip patches will only generate tulips, but they will be random with colors being red, pink, light gray, and orange. The other areas generate flowers like dandelions, poppies, azure bluets, oxeye daisies, and cornflowers. Badlands, mushroom fields, the nether, and the end will not generate any flowers. There are flowers that only generate at world generation. These are sunflowers, lilacs, rose bushes, and peony. With these, they are 2-block tall flowers, and if you apply bone meal, they will drop another flower. Because they are 2 blocks tall, they can get 2 dyes out of them. Swamps will only generate blue orchid flowers, with jungle variants and savanna variants, except shattered savanna biome. Dandelions and poppies are twice as common as other biomes. Deserts can also generate dandelions and poppies, but you would have to place grass blocks down. The Wandering Trader does sell 3 dyes for 1 emerald, and the trade is disabled after 12 trades. With the Wandering Trader, there is 54 different possible trades, and only 5 of them are chosen as 5 of the 6 trades. Let's start with white dye. There are 2 ways of crafting it, from bone meal or from a flower, Lily of the Valley. Lily of the Valley only generates at world generation in forest, birch forest, and dark forest. It can be generated using bone meal in the flower forest biome. The crafting recipe for bone meal is 1 bone crafts 3 pieces of bone meal. Bones can be found in chest loot like dungeon chest, desert temple chest, jungle temple chest, and woodland mansion chest. If you kill skeletons, wither skeletons, skeleton horses, and strays, they drop 0 to 2 bones. Skeletons spawn at light level 7 or below in the overworld. In the nether, they can spawn in the nether fortress and the soul sand valley. They can also spawn in the dungeon from a skeleton spawner. Strays are a variant of skeletons that spawn in frozen, ice, or snowy biomes. Wither skeletons generate in the nether fortress. The amount of bones that can drop will be increased with the looting enchantment, which is a sword enchantment. It increases the potential drops of bones by 1 per an enchantment level. The maximum level of looting is 3. At level 3 you can get 0 to 5 bones. Bones can also be caught fishing. There is a 1% chance of catching one with an unenchanted fishing rod. The Luck of the Sea enchantment decreases the chance of getting junk catches, which the bones are in, and increasing the treasure catches. The maximum level is 3. With Luck of the Sea 3, it is a 0.4% chance of catching a bone. Bone blocks can be crafted to get 9 bone meal. Bone blocks can be found in fossils, in desert and swamp biomes, also in nether fossils in the soul sand valley in the nether. The composter is used to produce bone meal. How the composter works is there are 8 different levels. When the composter reaches level 7, it goes to level 8 and produces 1 piece of bone meal. You can put plants, seeds, some food items in the composter, and there is a percentage chance it will increase the compost level by 1. Bone meal is also needed to generate most of the flowers to get the dyes. Next will be the black dye. The crafting recipe to get black dye are an ink sac or a wither rose will get 1 black dye. How you get a wither rose is by killing a mob using wither skulls. When the mob dies, a wither rose will appear in that location. The wither rose can be destroyed by more wither skulls. To spawn a wither, you will need to place either soul sand or soul soil in a T pattern with 3 wither skeleton skulls on top. The wither is one of the most dangerous mobs in the game. If you plan on spawning one, you should have a plan to either kill it or trap it. When a squid dies, they will drop 1 to 3 ink sacs. With looting 3, this can be increased to 1 to 6 ink sacs. The squid will spawn in water as long as it is river or ocean biomes at Y level 46 to 63, Y meaning the vertical position in the world. This means from sea level down 17 blocks is where squid will spawn. Green dye can be acquired by smelting cactus in the furnace and getting 1 XP. The cactus can be desert and badland biomes. Cacti grow 3 tall on average. They grow 1 block every 18 minutes. Bone meal cannot be used on them, and they have to be planted on sand or red sand. Next is brown dye. The crafting recipe for brown dye is 1 coca bean. Coca beans can be found in jungle biomes, growing on jungle trees as coca pods. When coca pods are placed on the side of jungle logs, jungle wood, strip jungle logs, and strip jungle wood, it will generate a coca pod. Coca pods have 3 stages. Bone meal can advance a coca pod 1 stage. If broken at stage 3 of the coca pod, it will drop 2 to 3 coca beans. Next is yellow dye. There are 2 crafting recipes for it. Dandelion will get you 1 yellow dye and a sunflower will get you 2 yellow dye. Dandelions will generate in plains, sunflower plains, forest, birch forest, dark forest, flower forest, and a couple of other biomes. Dandelions are twice as likely to generate in savanna and jungle biomes. Dandelions are one of 2 flowers that generate in these biomes. Sunflowers only generate at world generation, so they can't be generated with bone meal. They can only be found in sunflower plains biomes. If you apply bone meal to a sunflower, it will drop another sunflower. Because the sunflower is 2 blocks tall, it will give you 2 yellow dye. Next is blue dye. Blue dye can be crafted from lapis lazuli or cornflower. Lapis lazuli has to be mined using a stone pickaxe or better. Lapis lazuli generates between Y layers 0 to 30 in a single attempt per chunk, a chunk being a 16 by 16 area that the world is divided into. 1 to 8 ores of lapis lazuli can generate in a vein being a grouping of the same ore. Lapis lazuli ore will drop 4 to 9 pieces when broken. Fortune, which is an enchantment that can be placed on the pickaxe, can increase the amount of drops when breaking a block. The maximum level is 3. At level 3 it can drop 36 pieces of lapis lazuli. The cornflower will generate in plains, sunflower plains, and flower forest biomes. Next is red dye. You can get 1 red dye from crafting a poppy, red tulip, and beetroot. 2 red dyes can be crafted from rose bushes. Poppies generate in plains, sunflower plains, forest, birch forest, dark forest, flower forest, and a couple of other biomes. Poppies are twice as likely to generate in savanna and jungle biomes. Red tulips generate in plains, sunflower plains, and flower forest biomes. Rose bushes generate at world generation in forest, birch forest, dark forest, and flower forest. If a piece of bone meal is used on them, they will drop another rose bush. Beetroot seeds can be found in chest loot like dungeon chest, mineshaft chest, end city chest, village snowy house chest, and woodland mansion chest. Also 10% of village farm plots will be beetroots. The beetroot has 4 stages with bone meal. There is a 75% chance to advance at 1 stage. Harvesting a beetroot yields 1 beetroot and 0 to 3 beetroot seeds. Next is pink dye. Pink dye can be crafted from either a pink tulip to get 1 dye or peony to get 2 dye. The pink tulip generates in plains, sunflower plains, and flower forest biomes. Peonies generate at world generation in forest, birch forest, dark forest, and flower forest biomes. The peony will drop another peony if bone meal is used on it. Another way of getting pink dye is by crafting a red dye and a white dye. This will get you 2 pink dye. The gray dye can only be crafted with black dye and white dye to craft 2 gray dye. The next is light gray. It can be crafted from Azer Bluet, Oxeye Daisy, and a white tulip. All of these flowers generate in plains, sunflower plains, and flower forest biomes. Light gray dye can be crafted from black dye and 2 white dyes to get 3 light gray dye, or you can craft a gray dye and a white dye to get 2 light gray dyes. Lime dye can be crafted by smelting sea pickles in the furnace and get 0.2 XP. Sea pickles generate in warm oceans and are found on coral blocks. Each chunk has a 1/6 chance to generate a sea pickle colony. There are 1 to 4 sea pickles in a colony. Bone meal can be used on sea pickles to grow the sea pickles and spread over a 5x5 area. For this to work, it has to be on coral blocks in water. Sea pickles do not grow or spread naturally. Also, lime dye can be crafted from green dye and white dye to get 2 lime dye. Light blue dye can be crafted from the blue orchid. The blue orchid can only be found in the swamp biome and is the only flower that grows there. Light blue dye can also be crafted with blue and white dye to get 2 light blue dye. Orange dye can be crafted from orange tulips. Orange tulips can be found in plains, sunflower plains, and flower forest. Orange dye can also be crafted from red and yellow dye into 2 orange dye. Magenta dye can be crafted from allium. Allium only generates in the flower forest biome. Lilac generates at world generation in forest, birch forest, dark forest, and flower forest biomes. If you apply bone meal to lilac, it will drop a lilac. This can be crafted into 2 magenta dyes. Magenta can be crafted from a purple and a pink dye to get 2 magenta. Also, a blue, red, and pink can get 3 magenta dyes. Last is a blue, 2 red, and a white can craft 4 magenta dyes. Purple dye can be crafted from blue and red dye to get 2 purple dye, and cyan dye can be crafted from blue and green to get 2 cyan dye.